Absolutely loving it. The Christmas music coming out, and it is that time of year. We do wish you a Merry Christmas. Thank you for being with us on AFR Talk and AFA Today every weekday right here. Kevin McCullough, glad to be with you. We're talking about an ad that was slated by a particular company wanting to put it in the Super Bowl on television. And they picked what has been labeled a very controversial, very provocative, very inflammatory way of getting their message across. In case you missed it just a few minutes ago, here it is again.
It's been a long road getting here. And a lot has changed since I got back. Now this is the center of my world. And my family's safety is my highest priority. I am responsible for their protection. And no one has the right to tell me how to defend them. So I've chosen the most effective tool for the job.
Daniel Defense.
All right, so that's it. That's the full scope of the ad. All of 30 seconds, I think, that it would be if it was to air in prime time during the nation's most watched television event, but somehow deemed too controversial. Do you believe, and this is my specific question, do you believe it is any bigger of an issue than simply that one private entity, the NFL, doesn't like another private entity, this gun manufacturer, and so they're just saying, well, we declined the business because we just don't like that or like you? Or does the rejection of this ad, for whatever fears it may be motivated by, does it point, in your mind, to a much larger message about the culture as a whole? And if so, what are some of the messages that you're finding in that? I want to talk about that. Let's start with Chris, who's in Virginia, and he's up first. He or she, I don't know which it is. Chris, you're going to leave me in suspense here. Welcome, Kevin McCullough. Glad to be with you.
Thanks, Kevin, for taking my call.
It's a he. Ha-ha. Yes, yeah. I had it right the first time.
You did. I think that it points to a bigger issue. I think the whole ad shows traditional family values, a man working hard, coming up through the ranks, the military, working for what he has, and then on top of it, you put it on by a gun manufacturer. And I think all those issues the NFL probably looks at as that's not their marketing strategy, and it's going to cause conflict in all of those areas, which is ridiculous.
But Chris, let me ask you this. What type of conflict, where does the conflict come from? Because it's a company that makes guns?
No, I think that it's a challenge to the standards of today for what our society is trying to push, that the government should take care of your security. You should rely on the government and not your family. I believe.
Okay, so you're thinking
it's a bigger.
So you're
picture.
thinking it's a government dependency message issue. So you don't think the presence of the gun being part of the discussion at all has anything to do with it?
I think it's part of it, but I don't think just by itself.
Okay.
It would have been banned. I think it's the overall package. You're showing a family that's together, that's working together, that's a traditional family, and you have a gun in the mix.
Huh. Yeah, because thank you, Chris, for the call, and I will insert sarcasm here, because having a traditional family that's shown in a traditional setting, one of patriotism and service to country, and happen to be a gun-owning family, that's obviously a provocative message that should be inflammatory to the masses, and something that networks or pro sports leagues should be very worried about, I guess. This is exactly why I'm having this conversation, friends. Do you understand the number of things that I just said that 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 25 years ago, 30 years ago would have been seen as so normal and so common sense. Not a single eyelash would have been batted in any weird direction because of it. I think Chris is on the ball in his observations in many ways. A traditional family that owns a gun. And not just anybody, someone that served the country. Very dangerous message to be putting out there on Super Bowl Sunday, isn't it? Let's talk to Kim, also in Virginia. Virginia's really stirred up about this. Hi, Kim. Welcome. You're on with Kevin McCullough. So glad you're here.
Sunday, isn't it? Let's talk to Kim, also.
Yep. Kim, hello. Kim, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I just want to say that I listen to your show every day on my lunch break, and it's so
Thank you.
inspirational, and it just educates you as how the government really works. I didn't see the ad, but hearing from what you said about the ad, I do agree with Chris from Virginia also to say that the family, we're the ones, the family, that we're the ones that's going to protect us. Nobody else is. And I think I look at it, why would they have someone from the military to be displayed to say he's going to take care of his family versus having the government or military take care of his family? Because I believe that the military, they have a lot of insight as to what the military actually stands for. The military wants to brainwash us to believe they should take care of us. They don't want us to have guns in the home because at some point when martial law will be implemented, they want to know that we don't have a gun. So why is it that we can't have a gun to protect our own family? Who's going to protect us?
So you think what you're saying is that you think the idea of promoting gun ownership is a big part of why this was rejected, and it is actually what the NFL was saying was the problem.
I think that it's a more bigger picture than just the gun. Why would they have the guy? Why couldn't it just have been a guy that worked for an insurance company? Why did they have a guy to display in the military? Why him?
Well, I think that I think former military people that served feel comfortable using guns for one thing, and so I think if he's thinking I'm going to protect my family, and I have weapons training, I'm a good candidate to buy a gun.
And I would agree, but what about those people that have not been in the military and just own a gun? Like for me, example.
Yeah, well, I think. Hey, look, I'm one of these guys that wants. I want my lovely bride. I want my daughters. I want everybody shooting a gun in my house. Not in my house, but I want everyone in my house to learn how to safely operate firearms, because I do believe that it is helpful knowledge to have. Absolutely, and I think that the company would obviously feel that way. That's why they were going to buy an ad in the Super Bowl. Do you know how much that would cost? I mean, just to be on those 30 seconds, just one blip of 30 seconds, millions of dollars. But they're going to be seen by bazillions of people. So, some people would say that's worth it. Let's talk to Darren, who's calling from Ohio. Hello, Darren. Welcome. You're on with Kevin McCullough. What's your thought on this?
Hey, how you doing, Kevin?
Doing well. Thanks for your call.
Thanks for taking my call. I'm a supporter of citizens to have the right to bear arms, but on the same token, I have to look at the NFL and look back at the history of all the players that have gotten into trouble with guns. You had Junior Seau that committed suicide. You had Hernandez, I believe, the tight end from the Patriots. He's in jail right now for murder.
For murder, yeah.
So I believe that's why the NFL, they're trying to clean their image, even though I believe that commercial had good morals, values, and good traditional ideas. But as far as the NFL, they're walking on eggs right now. So to them, they want to try to separate themselves from anything that might look like it promotes any violence. See, that's the culture we live in. Most people...
Right. And again, I find this so interesting, Darren, because everything you say makes rational sense. And yeah, they've had a thuggery problem in the NFL. There's no doubt about that. They've also had a breakout of Christianity in the NFL. I don't know if people know this or not, but at the end of every NFL game, all of the Christians on both teams that play every single one of those games meet at the middle of the field, and and they gather in a circle of prayer. And every team has significant numbers of Christians on it, and so there's a significant number of people that attend those circle prayer meetings at the end of every game. It's really something quite, and they far outnumber the guys that have gone to jail and committed murder and shot guns and everything else. So I what you say makes sense. But the specifics of it is what doesn't add up, because when you hear what the ad promotes, it's a father taking responsibility for his family. He's not saying out, I'm going down to Strip to bang some caps in people and work my dime and get my drugs and this none of that. It's a respectable father trying to protect his family. It is a respectable image that I think most men desire to be. I think most men want to be the kind of dad that says, I'm going to protect my family.
Right. I don't think the NFL has a problem with that, but it's just the fact of that the commercial is instituting guns in the commercial, and they want to separate themselves from that. They want the family image. They want the working man. They want the wife and the kids. They want that type image, but when you throw the gun into it, that's what they're trying to get away from.
Okay, so you're the first caller that's admitted that, and here's what I want to know from you. Are guns in and of themselves moral or immoral instruments?
No, I don't believe a gun within itself is moral or immoral. It's the people behind the gun.
Oh, very good, Darren. Very good. Okay, thank you for the call. Great call. Yeah, that's exactly true. It's exactly true. There is no morality attached to a piece of metal. That piece of metal could be used to defend and save someone's life. It could also be used to take someone's life. That piece of metal could provide food for one family and be used by someone who is willing to commit crimes in another. The gun itself is like a fork or a pencil or anything else. It's what you do with it that is moral or immoral. It's not the actual tool itself. The problem is, and I think the NFL has bought into this a little bit, is that they've taken to this belief that this inanimate object that has no spiritual value to it at all, it is not demonic, it is not angelic. There's nothing about it that can be one or the other. It is simply a cold piece of metal sitting there on the desk or in the holster or wherever you store it. But I think the NFL has bought into this idea that, oh, it's a gun, it must be bad. You hear that. You hear that said in different circles. Whoa, why would you want to own a gun? I've said to people at dinner parties, especially because, we come to you from New York. I'm at different events regularly in the city. I'm around the wine and cheesers all the time, and the things that they think in these places a little different. I come from Texas. I'm a Southwestern boy myself at heart, and always will be. Still cheer for the Cowboys every time they play the Giants. I mean, it's I don't fit in many ways in where I live. But at the end of the day, I'll say something to someone like, yeah, I want everyone in my family to learn how to shoot and how to shoot well. And I will get the oddest looks. Why would you ever want that to be the case? Well, because I happen to care about them, for one. I want them to be well-informed and armed in order to be able to protect themselves. I think it's a good idea. And people have tried to argue this from a scriptural or a biblical or a Christianity perspective. Mean people have gone on Facebook and written incredibly profane things about how I can't be a Christian because, you believe that a gun is okay to use. Actually, I think it all depends on the context. It may or may not be okay to use. It depends on what the setting is, what the context of the situation is. 888-589-8840. 888-589-8840. Let's get one more call before our next break. Tony in North Carolina, glad you're with us. Kevin McCullough, glad to be with you. Hi. Tony, are you there? Tony? All right. That was your last chance, pal. Sorry. 888-589. Got one phone line open now. 888-589-8840. Let's go to Michael in Oklahoma. Hi, Michael.
Hey, how's it going, sir?
Good.
I always enjoy your show. I just wanted to say that the NFL is a private organization, and while I agree with you that a gun is an inanimate object that is not evil in and of itself, I mean, it's their decision at the end of the day.
Sure.
I would support them if they were to say, hey, at the end of every game, they were announced out loud, we're going to have a prayer meeting. I don't know if they do say that. I did notice people gathering at the end of games sometimes. I didn't know what for exactly.
Yeah.
But
well, when you see a circle getting together, and it's not organized by the league doesn't have anything to do with it. It's just the players. There's word has spread through the teams that if you're a Christian, we're going to meet at midfield and have a time of prayer together. And more games than not, you'll even see a little bit of it if the coverage stays on long enough, you'll see some of that.
That's really outstanding to know. I mean, that gives a much more balanced picture of the NFL overall, because like one of your previous callers said, I think right now they are struggling with a lot of things. They've had some image problems. Unfortunately, Mr. Hernandez got himself into some serious problems. But like you said,
I don't understand that. You have Tim Tebow on one end and you have Aaron Hernandez on the other. It looks like to me the NFL looks like the rest of the world. People of every stripe and color and belief and faith and walk of life come to it, and they come to it mangled and damaged, just like everybody else does in life. But the question is there something more to read into why the NFL rejected this ad that features this father saying they want to protect their kids? We'll talk about it more with you and your phone calls. One line open at 888-589-8840 as we continue. I'm Kevin McCullough. This is AFA Today on AFR Talk.